Hey guys, it's Andrew here, back with another video on the channel, and for today, we're going to be listing my top 15 favorite anime fights of all time. Now this list is going to be entirely subjective, so this is just my opinion. You guys can feel free to disagree in the comments down below. And before we do get going with the video, make sure to subscribe for more anime content like this and turn on post notification if you don't want to miss a video whenever I upload. Now, coming from my number 15 favorite anime fight of all time I have is Zanzus vs Suna from Katekyo Hitman Reborn during the Barya arc, or you can also call it the Battle for the Rings arc. Now in this arc, Suna and his fellow guardians Yamamoto, Gokudera and his other guardians had to fight against the Barya, a group of assassins that work for the Vongola family, in order to take the position as the true 10th generation Vongola. And Suna also had to fight Zanzus in order to obtain the position as the true 10th generation Vongola boss. And in order to take that position, Suna has to defeat Zanzus and obtain the Sky Vongola ring and become the official 10th generation Vongola boss. On my number 14 in the list is going to be Ichigo vs Ulquiorra during the Hoekomondo arc in Bleach. The initial stages of this fight, Ichigo was losing very hard to Ulquiorra, and that was his pre-Busto Lorde mode. But when Ichigo actually activates Busto Lorde, he goes berserk and actually dominates Ulquiorra in the entire battlefield. And in my opinion, I think this battle, at least to me, is actually better than Ichigo vs Aizen. Now I know you guys are probably gonna disagree with me on that. And at my number 13 in my list I have is Baryon Mode Naruto vs Ishiki. Now, I didn't completely watch the entire Boruto series, but still, when I watched this Baryon Mode Naruto vs Ishiki fight somewhere on YouTube, I was like, this has to be one of the best fights I've ever seen in anime. That was my take when I first watched that fight. And even though I literally didn't watch this entire series, I still know most of what happened in this fight. Naruto had to sacrifice Kurama in order to obtain Baryon Mode. The more Naruto inflicted damage on Ishiki, the more Ishiki's time ran faster than usual. And therefore that's literally what led Ishiki to his defeat. On my number 12 I have is Luffy vs Katakuri during Whole Cake Island. This fight is also considered one of the most longest fights in all of anime. Actually, I feel like this might be the longest fight in all of anime. I don't know. I feel like there could actually be longer, but I just don't know about it. Could be Goku vs Frieza. That fight was also long too, but I don't know. In this fight, Luffy, just like the fight with Ichigo versus Ulquiorra, Luffy was also losing very hard to Katakuri during the initial stages of the fight. But as the fight progresses, Luffy was beginning to see into the future and also starts to take advantage of the fight. And Luffy later on goes Gear Force Snake Man, which was literally one of the hypest moments in the entire arc, if not the entire series, in my opinion as well. And also this fight also made me really go crazy with Whole Cake Island, because it's literally just Katakuri and Luffy boxing. Anyways, that's it for number 12. At number 11 I have is Naruto and Sasuke vs Momoshiki in the Boruto series again. Now this fight actually has two versions of Naruto and Sasuke vs Momoshiki. The one, I believe that other Momoshiki fight was, I didn't really like that other Momoshiki fight, you know, that orc looking Momoshiki, I remember that. But the version of Momoshiki, of course, that I liked was the Momoshiki who was all white, of course. The animation in this fight was just really fantastic, and therefore it's probably one of the reasons why I really like this fight. At my number 10 in my list I have Tanjiro and Gyu versus Akaza during the Demon Slayer movie Infinity Castle, or Infinite Castle, I forgot the name, but we watched this movie in cinema, and seeing this fight literally made me say, this has to be absolute cinema. But this fight was just absolutely spectacular to watch, especially when Tanjiro unlocks that vision where he enters the transparent world, which is kind of akin to like a zone, but on a different level. Talking about Taiga Kagami's zone from Kuroko no Basket, I'm comparing it to that, but on a different level, of course. And at number 9 I have is Jinwoo versus Beru from the new anime that just got released like not too long ago from Solo Leveling. Coming at my number 8 is Gon versus Pito. Now this fight was so incredibly one-sided. Right when Gon turned adult into his adult form, he was demolishing Pito and ripping her to literal pieces. Okay, so at number 7, I do have another fight that came from the same series from Hunter x Hunter. I have is Netero versus Meruem. This fight was also really fantastic. And then that gigantic Buddha move that Netero used on Meruem was also very sick. I also really like that fight, and this fight was literally what made me watch Hunter x Hunter. And coming at number 6, I have is the fight from one of my top 5 animes of all time, and that is Asta and Yami versus Dante from Black Clover. Coming at my number 5, I do have is Naruto versus Sasuke during the final arc of Naruto after the Great Ninja War arc. This fight was just beautifully animated, and it was just also emotionally well done. At my number 4, I have on my list is Gohan versus Cell during the Cell games. And this fight is also a really great throwback. Also takes me back during my younger days when I used to be really obsessed with Dragon Ball. And this fight was just so satisfying to watch too. We got to see Gohan go Super Saiyan 2 for the first time, surpassing Goku at the time. We also got to see the very iconic father and son Kamehameha. That moment was also my favorite moment in the entirety of Dragon Ball. Coming at my number 3, I have is MUI Goku versus Jiren during the Tournament of Power. This fight also really went crazy during the Tournament of Power. We got to see the best animated scene of the entire fight, which was Naoto Shishida's part. Now, my number 2 fight I have on my list is another fight from the Dragon Ball series, and that is Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta versus Broly during the DBS Broly movie. This fight was also just incredibly spectacular to watch. Naoto Shishida was also part of this fight again, which Naoto Shishida animates Dragon Ball Super's fights. This fight literally goes God mode. Like, Naoto Shishida is literally one of my favorite animators when it comes to animating fight scenes, especially with Dragon Ball Super and One Piece. Naoto Shishida does crazy with those two series when it comes to their fight. And at number 1, I have on my list is Zoro versus King during the Wano Raid arc in One Piece. Now this fight, in my opinion, is single-handedly the best fight in the entirety of One Piece, at least to me, and that is in the anime. Now the reason why I did not put Luffy versus Kaido, Gear 5 Luffy versus Kaido, which is literally a fight that everybody in the One Piece community went crazy about, is for one reason. It's because I just like the Gear 5 Luffy versus Kaido fight in the manga, but in the anime I liked Zoro versus King better, because I thought this fight was animated far more spectacularly than what they did with Gear 5 Luffy versus Kaido. Now I'm not saying Gear 5 Luffy versus Kaido was animated poorly. I also think the animation of that fight was beautiful. That fight also had some god tier animations, but like I said, I think Zoro versus King was just animated better in my opinion. And yeah, so that's all my top 15 favorite anime fights of all time. If you guys disagree, like I said, feel free to comment about it, and subscribe for more anime content, and turn on post notification if you don't want to miss a video whenever I upload. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good day and peace.